Hey everyone. So every 2 weeks, roughly, maybe every 3 weeks, depending on how we do and all the things that come up sometimes in English, we're going to be working on morphology. Now, morphology is the study of words and where they come from. So morph meaning shape, and then ology meaning the study of something. So we're basically just studying how words are shaped and how words are formed. So every lesson, this is lesson 1, morphology lesson 1, you're going to receive one of these sheets of paper. I'm going to cut them in half, so you only get one of these. And I ask that you glue them in the morphology section of your notebook. And then I'm going to go through this video. This is probably the longest morphology video you will see, just because I'm kind of going over things. And then you will see me go through the notes here as we go one by one about what each of these word parts means. Now, with morphology, you'll hopefully, maybe you've heard some of these ideas before, but with morphology, you have prefixes which come at the beginning of a word. You have suffixes which come at the end of a word, and then you have the root or the base word, and that's the main part of the word that comes in the center. Now, here's the thing. It's not cut and dry. It's not black and white. It never is with English, okay? Prefixes should always start, okay? And suffixes should always come at the end. That being said, sometimes a word can end with a root. It doesn't always end in a suffix. And sometimes a word begins with a root. It doesn't always begin with a prefix. So just keep that in mind. Prefixes must always come at the beginning. Suffixes must always come at the end. But roots are tricky, and roots can be both at the beginning or at the end, or in longer words in the middle. So please make sure when you are taking notes that you take, because I'm checking everyone's notes, especially this first week. Please make sure you are writing down the definition of the word part, that you are writing down an example of the word part, and then you are writing down what type of word part it is. Is it a prefix, a root, or a suffix? So for this first one, it's a prefix. It is un. You might already know what un means, but un means not, or it means the opposite of. So there are examples like unlikable, unlivable, unobtainable. But here are some shorter ones: unfair, unavailable. You might have some of your own. Now, notice you already have the word fair, and you added the prefix unto it. So instead of being fair, now it is the opposite of fair, or it is not fair. You had the word available, but you added unto the beginning of it. And so now it means not available, or the opposite of available. And so what we want to start doing with morphology and start thinking about with morphology is now whenever we see this prefix unattached to the word, we should think in our brains, okay, it's the opposite of whatever this is, okay? So just keep that in mind. Our second one is one that most people know, and see, when you recognize them, it starts to make more sense about what words mean. Means to do something again. Reapply, reread, rebuild. Anytime you're redoing something, you add this re to it. I just did another one by saying redoing, but anytime you're doing something again, it's adding that re, okay? Reread, rebuild. And this is also a prefix. Our third prefix here is in, and this is where English is just so much fun. Because like the one before it, in means not. Now notice this one does not have the opposite of, but it does mean not. And please understand, we are not done by any stretch of the imagination with prefixes meaning not. More will come up, I promise you, because it's just, you gotta love English. So in is incapable, insecure. Now the reason that we do this is because just the way our language works, it does not always fit, right? I can't say uncapable. I cannot say unsecure. I mean, I can say unsecure, but it doesn't have the same meaning as insecure, okay? So just, it means the opposite of being secure, where it says insecure is not the same thing as, like when I think of unsecure, I don't have anything right now, but like if something's not strapped down, it's unsecure. Whereas insecure is about your feelings. You're not somebody who's secure in their, in their emotions or something along those lines. So just, incapable, and insecure mean not capable, not secure. I don't think you would see a word like inlivable, but you can say unlivable. You wouldn't say insub, but you can say unsub. So it's just knowing that A, it means not, but B, when to use it. That's what we're trying to learn by doing these word parts. Our fourth and final prefix is miss. Now, this one's not. This one means wrongly. Okay? So misuse, misunderstood, misbehave. It does not mean that you're not behaving. It means that you are behaving. You're just behaving wrongly. It doesn't mean that you do not understand. It means that you understood wrongly. It doesn't mean that you're not using. It means that you're using something wrongly. So just a lot of people think miss means not. It doesn't. It means to do something wrong. All right. So misusing is using something incorrectly or wrongly. Now we move into our roots. These are key. These are important because you can build so many words out of roots. So our first one here is odd. You think, oh yeah, oh duh, odd. It means to hear. So think things like an auditorium. You go to hear something. Audible. You like it is something able to be heard. Now notice both of these come at the beginning of the word. So see, roots can come at the beginning. Roots can come at the end. I don't know a lot of odds that come at the end just off the top of my head. I can think of an odd in the middle, like if instead of saying audible, you could say inaudible, so not audible, not able to be heard. So you could add that prefix to it. But it is the base of the word, and the reason that it's the base of the word, if you look at these words, audible, take the odd away. Now all I have is able. That's not anything. That doesn't have any real meaning on its own. Or itorium. It doesn't really have any meaning on its own. It needs that awe. That's why it's the base of the word. And you'll notice that with every single root, it's necessary. And that's how you can start picking out the roots. They are necessary to the word. Without it, we don't know what the word means. Okay. Bio means life. So biology, bioluminescent, biography. Bio means life. Okay. We have two more roots. Our next one here is struct. So struct means to build or to form. And remember, we are writing down the definition, we're writing down an example, and we're writing down whether or not it is a root or a prefix or suffix. So structure or construct, you see here with struct, you have one at the beginning, you have one at the end. I could also have something like deconstruction, which it's right, that's such a crazy word right there, such a long word with so many different parts. And our last root here is dict. Now, dict means to speak or to tell. And so we have things like predict, dictate, dictionary, diction. Okay, so predict is to before, dict, speak or tell. Dictate is to tell someone something to do. Our last two here, and I'm sorry this video is way longer than I wanted it to be, especially for morphology, but we have ology. Funny enough, the study of morphology, the study of where words come from, and then mythology, the study of myths and their origins. And then our last, we have biology, geology, astrology. There's so many different ologies, okay? And then our last one is This is one that performs an action. So a doctor, a builder, a teacher, a researcher, they're actually doing something, right? A teacher is teaching. A researcher is researching. A builder is building. Sorry about that. Okay? So from here, we're going to meet in small groups. We're going to kind of go over each of them. We're going to practice a couple of roots together. And then there will also be a practice that we will be working on kind of as our warm-ups throughout the week just to see how we do. And then eventually we'll see how this first one goes and we'll start to get in the swing of things. But eventually this is going to move into us actually having a quiz each week. Now, the thing about the quizzes, I will continue to bring this up, but the quizzes are basically mastery checks on morphology. And yes, we do have to have them because I have to make sure that we are learning our morphology. They do compound. So each week we are going to build on the morphology from the week before, which is why you have a notebook with all of the information in it and where we will be practicing. All right. Again, I am sorry for the length of this video. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Bye, everyone.